never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big...
I really think that there's been a sorely missed opportunity for developers to take a step back from competition and take a step forward with community. And if they do that, I think we all win, because community, I would argue, is the one thing that no one's trying to solve. We're trying to solve recruitment. We're trying to solve competition. Tell me, where's community? Honestly, any one of you, go ahead. Shout out what's the national community for Scholastic right now. Any title, tell me.
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I meet and hang out?
Of the Storm, community, zero.
There's nothing. It doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist statewide. It doesn't exist school-wide. It doesn't exist region-wide. It doesn't.
Down to 8 teams left to go in the Overwatch of the ECAC. We're in the quarterfinals now. Clutchkey alongside, dividing with you here for the number 2 versus number 10 seeded game, which involves Ball State, Team Red, the Cardinals, as the number 2 seed, taking on the Pace University Setters. Both teams 5-1 in the regular season. However, their stories to get that one loss was very interesting. For Ball State, a loss to the number 1 seeded Fisher. They lost 3-2 in a very close game in the final week of the regular season back on November 16th. Pace University, however, in a little bit more interesting, they lose to the number 4 seed Ball State Black team 3-0 back on November 2nd. However, they won't have to worry about Ball State Black anymore in this bracket, because they would lose to the number 20 seed Bethel in the Sweet 16 3-0. So Pace University having a little clearer path, but now they got to take on not Ball State Black, but Ball State Red here in the quarterfinals, and a day right after Season 2 comes out for Overwatch 2.
Yeah, so many interesting factors going into today's match, Clutchkey. Pace, of course, maybe feeling a little bit of relief not having to go up against Ball State Black, but Ball State Red has shown that they are willing and able to stay toe-to-toe with some of the best teams that Overwatch has to offer right now. Like you mentioned, that 3-2 loss against Fisher. They also made the top 32 in the Overwatch Collegiate Homecoming Championship. So this is a team that has had a lot of success this year, thanks in no small part to their brand new retooled roster for the 2022-2023 season. It has had a lot of success for them so far, and especially with Boise out of the picture right now, going down early in the bracket, it's kind of been a question of who in ECAC is going to be that team to rise up and challenge Fisher from winning, what is it, their 5th ECAC season in a row?
Yeah.
And it's looking like Ball State might just be that team.
Yeah, it feels like Fisher's been winning a lot in any esports you look at. Fisher's been winning just across the board, no matter where you go. But yes, Fisher, number 1 seed right now, still in very easy, or I shouldn't say very easy, but rather had the easiest path considering their number 1 seeding. Had the first round bye, obviously, with a top 4 seed, but would take on Brighton's Overwatch 3-0. They 3-0'd them. Would then take on the Blue Hens, which they 3-0'd as well. So they're in to the next round. They will take on another team from the Blue Hens later on today to determine if they can make it to the semifinals. What's interesting about this bracket, and like you said, which one of these teams is going to step up, and there have been a lot of upsets lately. There are 4 double-digit seeds left in a top 8 scenario, and the lowest seed right now, the number 20 seeded Bethel Pilots. And we were talking about this behind the scenes. Bethel is a team that is not reflective of that number 20 seed at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. They had a pretty tough Swiss stage going up against teams like Boise and teams like Ball State Red, which we're going to be watching today. On the flip side, you look at a team like Pace, number 10 seed, going 5-1, but their Swiss stage leaves a lot more to be desired. Ball State Black was really the best team that they played during those 6 matches, and like we said, it is the B team of Ball State that ended up 3-0ing this team. So I hate to be like this starting off the series, but unless Pace has really learned from that matchup, this might be a tough one for them.
Yeah, and we'll get down to the stats here in a little while, but first and foremost, we got to go into the map, and the first map that is going to be played here is going to be Lijiang Tower, so it is a control start. Obviously, in the playoffs, the rules change. It is not a map set that is already predetermined. This time around, it is the higher seed bans a map, the lower seed will pick. So the highest map ban, I believe, was Busan. So Busan was knocked out from the very get-go, and we were talking about maybe there being a surprise pick, but apparently no surprise. Busan is out of the picture. Lijiang Tower, a very nice staple of the game, is picked, and the first map we are going to see is Garden. And I will say this on a personal note, I haven't seen Garden in a very long time to start, but Garden such a nice map, but more importantly environmental. We will get to see both of ours first look at a competitive standpoint as to what the meta is going to look like, or what the meta could potentially look like. And for Pace right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to adjust off the Reaper Kiriko Lucio, although the Ashe and the Zarya. And meanwhile, for Ball State Red, Sombra and Tracer getting the buff, Doomfist getting a little bit of a buff as well. They're playing the two characters that have gone in.
Doomfist getting a little bit of a buff, I think, might be a bit of an underestimation. Doomfist is really good right now. When I was curious to see if anyone would be brave enough to play it one day after a patch, Manway says, I'll pick up that challenge.
Yeah, they will, but the ECAC are already getting off Giants, so good start for the team out of Muncie, Indiana. Now they've got the Reaper down. It's a 3-on-5 situation, and now the Doomfist again. A little bit of a buff, maybe a little bit of an understatement, but they may get the Doomfist out of play. Manway goes down, but coin flip looking like it's still going to be Ball State Red, although Pace does want to contest this. The fight does continue on. I believe that's the Lucio that's still in there, but Asta does go down. No contest here, and they get rid of the rest of the team very quickly, mind you, and Ball State Red's going to keep it in their possession.
Last Miss is kind of the leader of this Pace squad, the highest ranked player, if I'm remembering correctly from when I watched them during the CECC East qualifiers. But unfortunately on Zarya has been having a lot of trouble, has been getting a decent amount of energy, but has been having a little bit more trouble trying to get these flankers, get You Can't See Ghost and Manway off of the DPS, off of the supports. You can see it in the DPS ult charge. You Can't See Ghost has been having a field day on this Tracer, already with the pulse bomb up.
Yeah, already with the pulse bomb up, and we were talking about this as well behind the scenes, right? You get an elimination, that passive comes up, here comes the pulse bomb, finds a miss, and then you don't get increased movement speed, but you do get the increased reload speed, so the Tracer just becomes just that much more powerful here. And so Raven Strider able to take down Giants, but is traded away for that Tracer. So right now, one-on-one trade. Last Miss does have the Graviton Surge available with no sound barrier coming up for Yeager either. So right now, that's a good trade-off. Meteor Strike is used to see if they can find anything alongside a Kitsune Rush. Raven Strider fighting Last Miss is probably a big pick there for this team. You get rid of the Lucio at the same time. Can't hack out the Doomfist just yet. And right now, Pace finding absolutely no answers as it looks like they'll back up for right now.
Yeah, and Manway is being such a problem, just pushing people around, doing lots of damage as well. It's a lot easier now in this patch to get that empowered punch, which makes Doomfist not quite reach the damage levels that he had as a DPS, but you can see the way he was able to just melt that D.Va mech. Last Miss is immediately dead, and this is, oh man, might just be too little too late. 90% and counting for Ball State. Pace do have the beat and the EMP. A lot of really impactful ultimates. The question is if they can even get on the touch.
I don't think they can. 97%. This Lucio's in so much trouble, and they're not going to be able to touch at all whatsoever. A clean 100-0 from Ball State Red. Not even needing to use that second pulse bomb either. I mean, Spencer at the end gets 2 kills there on the overclock. Really doesn't matter, though, but Ball State's up 1-0.
Didn't need the pulse bomb, didn't need the overclock, didn't need the beat, and it all came down to a really well-coordinated dive from Manway and You Can't See Ghost and Yeager, Raven Strider. The entire team, it is notoriously difficult to melt down and burst down a tank in Overwatch 2 because you are the only tank that's getting pocketed by 2 supports all the time. They made it look easy right there and took all the wind out of Pace's sails as they were trying to set up their last fight. They seem to be unprepared for the pace that Ball State is putting on right now. Pace, on that note, is swapping over to a Torbjorn, a bit of an adjustment to probably try and slow down You Can't See Ghosts on this Tracer.
Yeah, and well, Lofi now in the Torbjorn as well, so let's see if they cancel the Tracer down at any given point whatsoever. There's a Maywall to try to keep the Doomfist, or rather to help the Doomfist out maybe a little bit on the wall side, but trap the Doomfist inside. Doesn't really matter anyways when Manway's going to get you 2 anyways, and now it just might be a game of touch the spawn doors right now. The Tracer gets turned around on, and Manway's got 3, and that fight in Ball State once again starts off on a quick right foot.
They are doing so good. You need to get Torbjorn in a good position to set up that turret in a safe position. You can see that You Can't See Ghost has been pretty easily able to maneuver around the turret. Can't maneuver around that headshot from Giants, though. It might be the best opportunity for Pace so far.
Oh yeah, they've got rid of Ghost, so hey, you've got a chance to go in. Right now, Lofi is so low. Finds a way to stay alive for just a little while. However, Ball State Red making a little bit of a comeback when Ghost comes in. Ghost is going to make a difference on this Tracer right now and gets 2 on the play before Giants can even take him down. However, yet another retreat from the team out of Pace, so Ball State Red stays in command.
And you saw in that little sequence just how much Doomfist is able to dictate the pace of a fight. At the time, you saw multiple punches. It pushes people away. It stuns them for a little bit. It makes it almost impossible for them to stay on target. And that's 2 quick picks for Manway to start off this fight. Ball State have embraced the Season 2 meta, and it has worked out fantastically for them. Ace has no answers right now.
And they stagger out the Diva oh so much as well for another 8 seconds here. So Ball State really on Ball State on the right foot here. Pace just cannot find an answer. And look, Lofi doesn't even have the Molten Core just yet either. I mean, this is a really bad situation here for Pace in the meantime. Ball State Red's going to have every single ult available to them in what basically looks to be a final fight the way this has been going so far. Meteor Strike is out. Will this find anything? It finds the turret, but that's about it. Kitsune Rush to get them out of that room for just a little while. The Blizzard gets eaten from last miss. Here's your opportunity if you're Pace to try to win this fight. They do get rid of Yakester, so Yakester cannot activate the Sound Barrier just yet, but down to the final 10%. They're finally starting to roll picks here. The Sound Barrier does get thrown out by Asta. Yakester back in play to see if they can get the Sound Barrier off. Maybe they save it just in case. I mean, they're at 99%. You don't want to risk it. Somebody does touch. They will flip the point in time, and it's a regroup stage here for Ball State Red.
And that is what you needed from your star tank player. Last miss, finally able to take away a little bit of the control that Ball State has had. But with how fast they play, they want to go right back in with this beat.
They do. The Molten Core also going to go in as well. But Yakester's Sound Barrier goes all for nothing. Giants with 3, including a 3rd kill from the Bob. And a good team wipe from Pace, 25%, but 75 to go.
Spencer's now going to swap back over to the Mei with no Blizzard available anymore. You may as well go for a long-range DPS to try and counter Giants, who has very much established themselves as a problem. Pace, though, they use almost everything in that fight. Nice, though, from Giants. This Ashe player is really waking up.
Yeah, the Ashe is waking up. They do get trades off. Both of the DPS is gone from Pace. However, Ball State Red losing both the Yakester and Manway in the process here. So Pace is looking pretty good to win out this fight with 1 less healer and a damager, and eats the pulse bomb at the same time too. Last miss, eating that right up, gobbling it down. Will get the self-destruct out. Meteor Strike will come down. Basically all for nothing here, just maybe to escape just a little bit. And yes, Ball State Red will back off. 65% Pace trying to make the comeback.
All of a sudden, 2 fights later, Ball State are looking a little worse for wear. They don't really have any ultras coming up. The Kitsune Rush coming up in a moment, but not much. They pretty much have to just focus on the abilities themselves, but here comes Manway, and You Can't See Ghosts.
Yeah, here they come. 3 kills already lined up here. Kitsune Rush goes all for nothing here. Ball State Red want to end this one already. They do have the overtime clock to make anything happen. However, unless Asta has a chance to make it, which they won't even try to, it will be Ball State Red coming out with the win on the night market, as well as the Garden and the Cardinals out of Muncie, Indiana, starting off on the right foot 1-0.
What a power move from Manway right there, by the way. Just goes in front of the Pace spawn and sits there like, I know you're not going to be able to do anything about this. If you try and get out, you're gonna have to go through me. And Pace said, all right, man, fine. We're not gonna go through you. We're just gonna reset for the next map. And man, I was curious, Clutchkey. I was curious whether we would be seeing teams really embrace the Doomfist meta that I've been seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter. You've only had maybe, one scrim max to be able to try and lock down this new meta, but Ball State seems to have embraced it, and it is working extremely well for them. They're able to set up very quick, high-tempo dives with the Doomfist, and then even in the mid to late fight, they're able to use the punches to displace the members of Pace and pick them off as a result. The tempo and target focus has been incredible from this team, and Pace looks stunned.
Yeah, Pace is not off to the right step, if you will, but Ball State is up 1-0 here as we get set for the second map, which will be hybrid. Remember, the winning team will ban the map, which is Ball State, so Ball State bans out New York, aka Midtown. So we will see what hybrid map comes up next. But before that, too, I mean, you take a look at the patch notes and to ask the big mind of dividing here. I mean, was Roadhog, not a viable option? Because Roadhog wasn't changed at all. And we saw a lot of Roadhog back in contenders. I mean, we've seen the Roadhog come out a lot in the latter stages of this season, but was that not a viable option there for Pace if they wanted to try it?
My guess is that Roadhog, like you said, was not changed at all. But because of Doomfist as kind of establishing themselves as the big option, I think Doomfist does a very good job into Roadhog because you're able to just really knock that Roadhog around. You don't have any movement abilities as Roadhog, so if you get punched into the enemy team, you don't really have a good way to get back. You can take a breather and keep up your survivability for a bit, but that's only going to last so long. Roadhog really does benefit from being able to kind of poke from mid-range and then get a nice hook onto the other team. You can't do that very well when you're playing into a Doomfist comp that plays so fast and melts people down so quickly. You really need to try and play a hero that can kind of keep up with that tempo, which is why we saw a lot of Zarya, a lot of D.Va coming out from Last Miss in the Pace team, but unfortunately, no matter what they did, they just could not keep up.
And it looks like, speaking of Lofi and Last Miss there, Last Miss is going to switch on over to the DPS role. Meanwhile, Lofi's going to go on to the tank, so a little bit of a switch up, if you will, coming up in the next part. However, our next map coming up is going to be King's Row. So the ban was Midtown. King's Row is the next map to appear. And so for right now, I mean, King's Row, obviously yet another staple of the Overwatch community. Scrims Row, if you will. And I know a couple weeks ago, I mean, the joke on the top right corner of your screen there was said Scrims Row. Not the case this time around. The teams are a little bit more serious about this because it is playoffs. But I mean, what you play, I guess, is comfortable. Pace you wanting to pick the comfort pick there for a hybrid map. And hey, I mean, for this meta, I mean, we'll see, right?
We will absolutely see. I think there's a little bit of risk versus reward here when you're playing into a Ball State team that is likely going to play towards the Doomfist comp once again. King's Row, of course, is a more closed-in map. There isn't as much room for the Doomfist to maneuver around the map, but if you're able to get into position, there are just a billion walls all over the place for you to slam the other team into and just cause fits for the other team. And Ball State starting off on the defense is not concerned about it. In fact, they have a bit of an interesting DPS line as well. The Symmetra Torb comp trying to maybe ease the ability for Doomfist to get around the map. As I say that, though, you can't see Ghost is going to go ahead and swap over onto the Tracer. So that makes a little bit more sense. Pace, though, this is what we're asking about, Clutchkey. How does the Roadhog of the last meta play into this meta's Doomfist composition? We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Also, Manway just saying hello to the sponsor as well. It's pretty funny. But also the Torbjorn turret on top of the statue. I mean, I don't know Torbjorn's range to throw that turret, but this Torbjorn must have pretty strong arms if you're throwing it up there. It doesn't really matter, though, when the strong arm of Manway goes right in and takes down two in this fight. Ravenstrider also showing off that they've got aim. They've got a team kill to start already, just 30 seconds in, and they've got a team kill.
Yeah, playing a double sniper comp into this is not going to work out very well if you don't get a pick off very quickly, because Manway is so good at being able to close that distance. Lastmas is going to make a pretty good swap, in my opinion. You're able to identify that between You Can't See Ghosts and Spencer, you don't really have a long-range DPS, so why not try the Pharah?
Let's see if that Pharah works out. And really no pocket either for that Pharah, so not like a pharmacy combo in play here. Just gonna see if they're just gonna dive right in. Just dive right into the waters and find out how this Pharah fares. And right now at 150 health, still looking pretty good. Trying to destroy that turret in the back line. Really nothing happening, but you cover the turret. It's a good sign for you to start here. This Doomfist goes right in the back though, and Giants just cannot close that distance. And Madways again got a 2-pointer to start here. And while they can't get the Pharah, they've got enough kills to make sure that that Pharah can't really make any big impact. So again, they're playing Touch the Swan North and Ball State Red with another good defense.
That rocket punch stunned up 3 Pace members right there. And that was the go button for Ball State to just go ham on the entire squad. Lastmas can chunk in those rockets, but Ravenstrider and Yakester are doing a very good job of being able to sustain through that. And that shows with a whole row of check marks for Ball State.
Yeah, there is 2 of them used immediately, though. Molten Core, along with the Kitsune Rush. Molten Core does find Giants. Meteor Strike also down. They're using 3 ults here, but Ball State's investment will work out for them for right now. They do use the Whole Hog in the meantime, and that Roadhog will also be gotten rid of, so the Whole Hog is gone. The Kitsune Rush is gone from Pace, and no fight win either with Ball State using 4 ults.
Yeah, silver lining, of course, is that you do only have the beat to worry about. If Pace is doing a good job of keeping ult tracking, you know that that's all you have to worry about, and Lastmas is sorely aware of that, surely, with that barrage ready. Now, has Sapphire at their backs, providing that damage boost is going to be a huge help as they try and burst down some of the squishier members of Ball State. And an early beat might open things up here for the Pharah.
I don't think
for
it
next
does.
Fight, though.
Yeah, I don't think so when the Scorpion
fight.
Sniper is out. He's got 2, so Pharah backs off right now. Oh my god, Stormfront hit from that far in the air. This aim from Spencer has been all sorts of good in this series, so, or rather, I should say, on this Torbjorn so far. So down to a minute left to go. I mean, Pace, again, on the attacking side, Ball State Red would still need to play, but as of right now, Pace looking like they might get full held here.
It's going to be tough, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. Ball State currently don't have any ults. Ult bomb's coming up in just a moment, but if Lastmas understands that, is able to take the initiative here, might be able to find the picks.
Oh, they find Madway, though, in the backline, and Lastmas is found as well. Cannot use the Rocket Barrage either, although Giants is able to use Bob out in the middle of the field. So the 6th man is out for them for right now, so take back the wards here. Pace is able to find at least a tick. And it looks like that they are going to be able to find all 3 tick marks unless Manway decides to play this. They will back off for right now and will be Pace that gets an additional 2.5.
You know what happened there? Pace swapped the Doomfist. The first time this game, we see them matching the tank, and it immediately pays dividends for the setters, as now they're able to take a ton of space into point B. Lastmas still has that barrage ready, can let it go whenever. But maybe wait for another 10 seconds as Yakester's able to get the final blow out for that one. That's going to force the setters back to the archway. It's actually a huge pick, because now it sets up an archway hold for the Cardinals. Yeah,
they're going to set up with that Molten Core right away. Only 1 shot goes above, just to high tide that one for a little while, but 2 minutes left to go. I mean, you're right. I mean, they switched to Doomfist and they got the push that they wanted. Unfortunately for right now, Lastmas has been holding on to this for another, what, like 3 or 4 fights now, and Ravenstrider has a Kitsune Rush ready, although not a sound barrier yet, so you can Ghost now onto the Soldier. We'll see if that works out for them. Kitsune Rush is going to be used out from Ravenstrider to start this fight off. Can Ghost his way in the back line, but so is Manway, and Giants yet again caught out by the Doomfist here, although not a bad trade if you can get rid of the Kiriko to start, so a healer for the tank there. Now the Rocket Barrage is out, and the Rocket Barrage does find UCAN Ghost, but it's traded out. So in a trade fight hold like this, it's not bad if you're paced to try and recoup, but right now the way Ball State is holding, they're going to continue this.
Lastmas, of course, understanding there isn't as much room to maneuver when you're playing in this archway, so you're going to swap over to the Hanzo. I feel like someone from Pace needs to swap to Kiriko or Baptiste, though. This is a very low healing comp that Pace is running right now. They just don't have the sustainability.
Well, let's see. They have the sound barrier out from Yakester for Ball State for right now. The Meteor Strike at the same time. The sound barrier used right as the Meteor Strike was about to drop. So we'll see if any of the long-range shots can happen. Now, a little bit of a bug, I guess, if you will. The Hanzo recoil does happen, but Last Miss still with the recoil, still able to find Spencer through the storm arrows. And right now, when you find Manway, that's a pretty good sign that your team is going to win this fight, and they will push the cart forward past the archway.
Yeah, once again, the star player Last Miss coming up clutch with the opening pick. Just swapped over the Hanzo, already 73% of the way to that Dragon Strike. However, Ball State, they have that tactical visor ready. They are about to come up on that Molten Core. Both DPS ults ready. No Last Miss available. This is the go button for them.
Yeah, well, here they come right now as they've got the tactical visor out. Takes down Sapphire. Sapphire able to find the res onto Last Miss. However, with the tac visor out, really no room to play here for Pace, as they will drop down, and it's basically going to be a win here for Ball State Red on their fight. Overtime clock starts to bleed. Giants does have the bomb available to try to contest. However, Giants going down is huge. No bomb to try and stall, and they are probably just going to get stalled off here right down the middle. The Lucio, the only one left alive to try to hold on, and Pace cannot complete the streak. It will be Ball State Red that has to only go a point and 71 meters to capture point 2.
Unfortunately, Clutch Key, I think we might have just witnessed Pace falling to the dark side.
Oh,
as they swap over to the Doomfist, and it gives them the best success that they have had so far in this game. Not enough to get to point B. Still a very manageable attack for Ball State to go up 2-0 and get to match point. That being said, I think we might be seeing this Doomfist setup from Pace a little bit more as we head into the later maps of this series. But back to this one. Pace, they do have a couple of opportunities here, of course, with the full hold and the archway hold. After that, you can maybe try and hold at that first corner where the library is at. And another tank swap from Pace. This is like their 5th, maybe 6th tank of the game. This time it's going to be Orisa coming out from Lofi. This isn't the worst. This isn't the worst one as well. You're able to use the Fortify to get rid of any knockback. You can stop the Doomfist in his tracks when he's punching in. I think this is an interesting swap. After all, Orisa in the lore was created to help counter Doomfist, so who knows? Maybe it works in game as well.
Maybe it will, but you were talking about number of tanks Lofi has played so far. Count 5. Diva, Orisa, Roadhog, of Doomfist, as well as Zarya as well in this place. So right now 5 tanks being played for Lofi, or rather for Pace as general, because Last Miss was the tank in overall. So 5 tanks being played thus far, and now Ball State Red choosing to go here with the turret system, mainly Spencer and Ghost on the Symmetra and the Bastion. So what we saw at the beginning, I didn't think it was going to hold true because they were in spawn. However, it does hold up, and the Junker Queen, who also got a little bit of a bump, comes in, and Ghost gets 3, Manway gets 1, and it's a team kill right away for the Cardinals.
Oh, that is so awful. Pace went through, came up with this whole comp to counter a Doomfist, and instead they end up face-to-face with a Junker Queen, and they are not prepared for it at all. Ball State is going to quickly take point A, and now all of a sudden, Ball State, they have to hold right here at the library. They're getting pushed back really hard. Bastion is just pouring in damage in the Lofi. We do have a DC from Sapphire.
There is a pause in the action. There will be a pause in the action here. They have to pause it because Safi, I believe, out of play for right now for Pace side. Did disconnect in the middle, and that could be huge as well. Although 5 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock, still plenty of time for Ball State Red to make the comeback. Although big for Pace, losing what could be a potential ultimate there, because I believe Safi was right about 70% along the way. So if they had continued that fight the way it was going, they would have probably had that ult coming up. So still plenty of time left for Ball State Red to come back into this. In the meanwhile, though, we'll bring you back to the booth here with Lijiang Tower again. If you're just joining us, back on Lijiang Tower, Ball State Cardinals Team Red taking on the Pace University Setters. Back on Lijiang Tower, Gardens 100-0 in favor of Ball State. That kind of set the tone, but Night Market a little bit closer, where the side of Pace U got 91%, but it flipped right back to Ball State winning that Night Market and Garden in a sweep 2-0. But Kings Row, however, Pace, like you said, conforming to the dark side a little bit, as they got 1 point in 71.34 meters before being stopped right past the library. So right now, Ball State on the attacking side. And for Ball State, I mean, they're looking pretty good for 5 minutes and 25 seconds. So let's talk about how much does Pace need to do to stop what is this barrage coming up from Ball State?
They have to do just about everything. I mean, you're basically getting pushed all the way back to that golden box of victory right now. And you are down one of your supports. When Sapphire gets back, they're going to have to get all the way back to the team. And that point B spawn is not close for the defenders. They are going to have to make a pretty significant trek. Might even have to go with the Lucio or the Moira instead of going with what they actually wanted to get back faster, because time is running short. I feel like Pace is going to have to back up to avoid losing anyone else and getting staggered out, come back as 5, and then try and hold without losing a fight for 5+ minutes. That would be a Herculean defensive effort. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's happened before, but 99 times out of 100, I would say Ball State will end up winning this map just because of the circumstances they've put themselves in.
Oh yeah, Ball State would have to pull off the 1%, if you will, if you're thinking about that 99 out of 100, will need to pull out the 1% out of the bag. Meanwhile, to the rest of the bracket we go here, as we'll get back to this game in a little while, but right now, I mean, if you're taking a look at the rest of this bracket on the ECAC side, plenty of matches left that are still going to be in, and in fact, we'll talk about that later as we go back into the game. Now Sapphire back in, but like we were saying, Sapphire comes in without an ultimate, so basically starting from scratch. Although, I mean,
that's pretty nice of Ball State. It looks like they have actually backed up and let them. Well, or if Last Miss is just going to stand some Metro turrets like that, I mean, you're just going to take it. But I think the plan was for Ball State to back up and let them come back in as 5. Not so much anymore. It's just kind of a scrum by the library.
Oh, here comes Bob. The 6th man is out. Manway's going to have to back up for right now, as that Bob pretty much positioned right by the library and right behind the application matrix, but the Photon projector is used out from Can Ghost to do so. Here comes the Rampage that's out there, and I believe that's 2 people caught inside of it, which is both Giants and Asta. Good thing Immortality Field saves you for a little while before the Suzu is out. They do trade out for right now, but Spencer and Manway going to find their way into the rest of the team, and in the final 12 meters left to go, although you've got a little bit of a stop, if you will, Base is going to find their way into the final 5 meters of hope, and they will be stopped. Ball State Red able to find their 2nd point and are on match point on their way to the semifinals.
That was, I would say, a really tough match for Pace. They found themselves between a rock and a hard place. Ball State were overbearing down on them with an almost impossible time bank, and then they had a really unfortunate disconnect. So I would probably give Pace a pass for this one. Say, hey, you had some tough times here. That being said, up until that point, which was like 90% of the map, Pace was still pretty much outplayed. They, of course, got a little bit of a push thanks to themselves moving over onto the Doomfist comp, as well as the Farmercy. That might be the combination that Pace tries their best to go with, since it has given them their best success. I think that allows Last Miss to play a little more into their own strengths. I think they seem very comfortable on that pick. But I mean, once you kind of get over that first couple of fights where you're like, oh my gosh, they have a Pharah, a team like Ball State, they're skilled enough to be able to counter it. I have no doubt in my mind about that. So I think Pace is going to need to really dig deep and pull out something big if they want to take this one back.
Yeah, ball and big they will need a reverse sweep for Pace to get to win this match out. If not, Ball State 3 opportunities at match point here to go, and it would be escort, push, and control. Basically 3 maps that cannot tie at this point. So for Pace, you got to win the rest of these games or rest of these maps in order to reverse sweep and move on to the semifinals. Meanwhile, winner of this one takes on, by the way, Mount St. Mary's, the Mountaineers, number 3 seed out of the Swiss stage, or they will take on the number 11 Ohio Northern Polar Bears. So 3 versus 11 going on right now as we speak. We'll see if we can get an update later on that. Meanwhile, next map coming up is going to be Escort. So once again, higher seed bands. or rather winner bans loser picks. So the winning team of Ball State bans the Circuit Royale map, and meanwhile for the side of PaceU, they will instead pick Route 66. Sides will not swap, so Ball State will pick the defensive side to start yet again. Pace with the first attack, but Route 66 is the map that's going to be out here for PaceU's basically, I don't want to say it, but desperation situation, considering that they're down 2-0.
Yeah, it all comes down to this for Pace. They gotta win this, or this will be the last map that they play this season. As far as Ball State, a trip to the semifinals is oh so close for them. They just have to bring it home on Route 66 going in any minute now. I think that this is probably just a comfort pick for Pace, I would have to imagine. The escort map that they felt the best about. They don't have to worry about any sniper shenanigans, most likely coming out from Ball State because Circuit Royale was banned. But I think there is a lot to be said for, again, how dive compositions work extremely well on Route 66, especially A and C. There might be a little more trouble on B because the high grounds are a little bit higher, a little bit taller. But I think there is a lot of potential for those Doomfist comps to thrive. And I think it has been shown, unless Pace pulls out something to prove to the contrary, that Ball State really is insane at those compositions. There is, though, a bit of an interesting swap here. Looks like we're going to be seeing Manway on the DPS and Spencer on the tank this time around.
Oh, interesting.
Is this a classic case of the overconfident collegiate team? Because we've seen plenty of those in the collegiate scene where a team goes up 2-0, says, okay, we can relax a little bit, maybe not like they're going to throw explicitly, but we can off-roll a bit, we can play comps and heroes that maybe aren't quite our mains, and we'll probably win anyways. We'll see if this ends up being a mistake for Ball State.
Yeah, I mean, they were even asking, I mean, I don't know if you saw in chat there, but they were asking for a switch on stream. So Spencer, yeah, now on the tank side. Meanwhile, ECAC Ghost finds 2 domes immediately off the gate to the defensive end. He's going to run back right to the spawn room here. So 2 domes immediately from ECAC Ghost. Already has 50% ultimate on 2 shots. It's unreal.
Yeah, you almost never see a Widowmaker in that kind of situation because you're playing close spawns. You kind of have this crossfire being putting up here with the main team with the Roadhog and the Tracer from Spencer and Manway, and then you can't see Ghost off to the side putting in pot shots, and it is working incredibly well. You would almost never expect this to happen, but Ball State is really flexing their might right now on Route 66. I mean, look at You Can't See Ghost, basically untouched right now, free to take shots at their leisure.
Well, they do get rid of Yakester, so part of healing gone right now, but Raven Strider still able to find a way to deal damage and able to take the D.Va out of mech. Finds a headshot onto the D.Va as well, so yet another setback coming up for Pace right now. So Pace, I mean, just no answers whatsoever, and this is what we saw back in the last map of Kings Row, where they tried to get that first control point. However, they just got stopped for about 3.5 minutes. Pulse Bomb already out, and Pulse Bomb able to find Asta, who just stays on the ground right near that Pulse Bomb, and this is going to be yet again another push. I mean, despite Giants getting Yakester, it's still, there it is, the D.Va stall once again, and Ball State Red shutting the door.
Yeah, this is looking rough. Ball State already had the whole hog available to push everyone back into spawn. You're most likely going to have, as long as You Can't See Ghost doesn't die, you should be able to have the visor, the tactical visor to be able to, sorry, it's not tactical visor, infra sight. Tactical visor is soldier. Infra sight to be able to get everyone's positions, and then Raven Strider will be able to use the Kiriko Rush. Wow.
But Ghost again finds 2 on both of the DPSs.
We get it. You can aim. I understand. Stop flexing on me.
Ghost finds 3, 2 domes immediately again. That's the second time that the DPS's heads have just been exposed. ECAC Ghost, and like you were saying, I mean, just going uncontested here. Now they're finally trying to take pot shots at him. Giants almost up to the bot, here for the 6th man. Ready and available, but if ECAC Ghost finds a shot here, might just be all but over. Spencer, though, able to hook and take down Asta right away with the wombo combo, if you will. And now the Kitsune Rush is out. The headshot is out, so that self-destruct and remake kill probably not going to happen in this case. A minute 15 left to go, and yet again, another shutdown. Look where this payload is. Not even close to the turn.
I mean, yeah, it's with 13 meters. That is it
Oh
for
my
Ball
God.
State. But okay, that was a
Okay.
nice max range hook from Last Miss. Actually super impactful, taking out the main source of healing for Ball State. With 3 ultimates available for Pace, this is their first good opportunity to get some real progress.
Well, though, Bionade, though, from Asta takes care of Spencer, so that's big for them. So you get rid of the Roadhog, you're finally going to pass it, push it past 13 meters, and are probably going to get it around the corner as well. Ghost does have the infra sight available, decides not to use it at the moment. Oh, but gets hooked right away from the bottom rope. So right now, Ghost is out of play, so 30 seconds left. They do have one more fight to play.
One more fight here, and you are able to hang on to the Kirika Rush and the Bob, and you're about to get the whole hog out as well.
Oh.
Ace has a decent opportunity here if they can hold on through this last ult barrage from Ball State.
That's a good Bionade too, because Spencer's now caught up using Take a Breather alongside that Bionade, so Bionade cancels that out entirely, and the whole hog onto Spencer kills him. Meanwhile, Last Minute just causing so much havoc. Ghost again finding the dome on Giants, but this needs to be a little bit more impactful here. The Roadhog, again, she's just going to go right up on top of them. Great patience with the hook for the Widowmaker. Unfortunately, the Widowmaker stays alive down to the final 5 meters before they can cap it, unless Ball State Red wants to deny them any access for right now. You get rid of the Widowmaker, but you trade that out for Lofi on the Genji side. Again, 4 meters left to go. Sapphire able to pick off Manway, and so no DPS is left here for Ball State Red in this fight. Spencer can only do so much here as Last Miss is nano boosted, basically out of desperation, if you will, and Last Miss finds another 3, and Pace will live to see another 2 minutes.
And that is the raid boss Roadhog that made him such a fantastic pick at the end of Season 1. When you're nanoed up and getting all the support in the world, it is impossible to take Roadhog down and deny him from getting all the space and all the kills. Last Miss basically says, puts their foot down and says, we are going to at least see point B, and that's exactly what happens here. But still, you can't see Ghost is going to be a constant problem. What a sweep from Asta,
No, but what a
though.
hook from Spencer right back. So, okay, so the sleep guard hits the Widowmaker, then Spencer, or Lofi tries to go for it. Unfortunately, Spencer's right there to say, I'm protecting my Widow. Widowmaker basically the president, and gets protected. Unfortunately, the rest of his team starts to fall, and so Ball State Red needs to switch off, and right now Manway's going to switch on over from the Tracer to the Sojourn instead.
Oh, this is so tough. You can't see Ghost is just clearly significantly better at Widowmaker than Giants is, and that's no disrespect to Giants. Has had a lot of good moments throughout this game, but when it comes to these Widow 1v1s, you can't see Ghost is going to be winning consistently, and that is going to put so much pressure onto the rest of Pace to just avoid the Widow sightline.
And that's going to be 3 kills already for Ball State Red, but you take a, and the Samurai used at the same time as well. The Raven started coming up on the Kitsune Rush. Pace, though, coming up on the own Kitsune Rush along with the Roadhog, so the meat grinder potential here?
Oh, absolutely. There's some meat or grinder potential from Last Miss and Sapphire, respectively. But the problem is, to do that, you have to get people close up in range of that whole hog. And Ball State are playing 2 long-range DPS and a long-range support. Other than Last Miss themselves, I mean, who is going to be in range? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, there's no way that they're getting back from that one, but gosh.
Jeez.
You can't see Ghost with 2 kills again, and how many times have we said that?
Yeah, I mean, finds a way to get everybody basically out of this game. Lofi's just going to run for their life if they can even escape without... And this is really bad for them, too. 10 seconds left to go, so they might have to use the Kitsune Rush to get out there. And right now, with the overclock as well, they got to find a way to touch. This payload is so far up from them, I don't think they even get one touch in the process, and they don't, not at all. And so they get stopped at just the right moment if you're Ball State. Yet again, another 1 point and stopped in the middle of the street space. And so Pace is denied any access. 66 meters, 1 point. Ball State needing to cap that to bring out the broom.
Yeah, it is incredibly familiar. For those of you who are watching Kings Row, this is almost exactly, give or take 10 meters or so, how far Pace made it on Kings Row. And if that deja vu is going to continue, Ball State ended up winning Kings Row fairly quickly on their own attack. So, for the pace setters, they've made it all the way to the quarterfinals in ECAC, which is not a very easy thing to do. They find themselves at the precipice of elimination if they cannot stop Ball State right here and right now. What have you got on this potential final defense of the season to shut down the number 2 seed in the tournament? Pace says, maybe Junkrat will work.
Maybe Junkrat will work. Septilence, if you're watching this, buddy, Junkrat's out.
I like how we've gotten to the point where we just shout out Septilence every time we see Junkrat.
Well, whenever Junkrat comes out, I mean, at this point, I mean, I've been messaging him every single time, and his face just glows up whenever Junkrat is mentioned, and it's in a collegiate game like this. But Lofi is out here with the Junkrat, so again, shout out Septilence. But anyways, Ball State, for Pace though, I mean, they held Ball State so far up, only 13 meters, and yet Pace is willing to play back and let them have the first 13, unlike Ball State let Pace have. I mean, this is like, they're so far back. First hook misses, but now they're going to bring out the Bastion from Manway here. So, I mean, this is just going to be a rip of damage coming out from Ball State. See if they can. And again, you can't see Ghost. I mean, I need to know the accuracy numbers, the critical hit rate accuracy numbers for You Can't See Ghost, because I feel like every shot has been a headshot thus far, as long as it hits. Last Miss able to find the counter out right now, so a 1-1 trade.
A wild angle.
Yeah, from a wild angle, mind you. And Pace, it looks like they're going to be able to defend this.
Last Miss is like playing dive hog right now, which is incredibly slow because hog cannot dive. You basically just walk slowly towards your target, and this time around, your target is always the Widowmaker. Last Miss is forced to take these crazy angles to try and deal with You Can't See Ghost, because that's all that Pace can do. It's the only counter they've been able to figure out. But that puts their tank way out of position and opens up the rest of the team to pop off.
How long has it been since we've seen a Moira-Lucio combination? And it feels like forever. It's been Kiriko-Lucio mainly, right? I mean, it feels like forever.
It's been months.
It's been months since we've seen Moira-Lucio, but the Moira-Lucio is what's being brought out here. And so Pace again sticking with that Ana to maybe Bionade out Spencer. In the meanwhile, Sapphire playing so aggressively, trying to get in and make some damage happen. Unfortunately, no defense coming up from Pace, because there's just so much damage being poured out. And now what looks to be, I mean, the way that this fight is rolling, and they're staggering after staggering, they may have only one fight left to go if they want to try to defend this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way Giants is getting out of that one, especially with the whole hog being committed from Spencer. And the Coalescence. Okay, Ball State want to take this point right here, right now. The problem is they still got about 50 meters to go, and they just blew every ultimate that they had. You Can't See Ghost is about to have that infra sight up, and you're a little bit further away from the beat and the artillery shells from Manway, but Pace is looking a little bit better. You already have that Rift Tower up, which is really good to get at least one pick off. You also have the whole hog. You have the Kitsune Rush. So again, that Heat Grinder is coming up in just a moment. And the Nano. Pace is in a really good spot to potentially hold here.
But not if Giants goes down very early on. And now last 5 meters, somebody's got to touch you. But You Can't See Ghost just ends all hopes of that. 3 kills for Ghost, and good night, Pace. Ball State Red is going to sweep the series, advances to the semifinals. Oh my goodness.
You Can't See Ghost? Well, surely Pace couldn't see Ghost, because my goodness, no matter where Ghost was positioned throughout the map, it seemed like Pace was never able to figure out where that Widowmaker was positioned until it was far too late. A beautiful game from Ball State overall. And as a team that, again, has kind of made themselves, remade their team for this season, I think this was kind of their coming out party as an elite contender in the ECAC.
Not number 2 for no reason. Cardinals advance on into the semifinals. We'll play either Mount Overwatch or Ohio Northern Overwatch right now. So Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers or Ohio Northern Polar Bears. But right now, I mean, the way that this is working out for Ball State, it is looking pretty spicy to see the number 2 seed advance on into the championship game, no matter who they play. But we actually will give you an update here as to who they will play right now. Mount St. Mary's, your number 3 seed, up 2-0 on Ohio Northern right now. What could potentially be the last map right now. They are just starting as Mount St. Mary's starting on the attacking side on Circuit Royale, which we'll see if that lands up being the matchup between number 2 and number 3, which would be very appropriate in a semifinal considering the seeding. But we will take a short break, and when we come back, we'll see if we can get an interview with one of the members from the winning team of the Ball State Cardinals, who win 3-0 Broom brought out of the closet. You're watching the ECAC Fall Quarterfinals right here on Esports U.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big swings.
That's so cute.
UCF, and it's really cute. So I'm gonna move down here. How do we feel? The odds for UCF? What are we thinking?
They got it.
No, we got this. We got it.
Go Knights, charge on.
100%. My friend Nick is behind you. He's gonna record it. Don't look at him. You'll ruin the shot. Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Come on.
Oh,
Let's go! Let's go!
My smile's probably really creepy. I was just being weird.
Oh, I love being in the shadows, though. Big shout out to the shadows.
We could interview Dilly just because I think he's handsome. You weren't supposed to hear.
Here's the thing about the event. I'm the greatest that's ever lived.
Literally true. I know him.
I think everyone knows that. I think everyone's aware of that.
Hey, do you have a VIP access badge on?
I actually have an all access.
Oh, an all access. I thought it said VIP access.
And that's only available for the best.
That's true. He's right. That's a main stage TO right there.
If this goes live, I'm suing everybody.
It's all right. A video of me, the first clip is me saying, don't put that in. And then it was the first, cut the cameras. Oh, you're recording already? Great. So this is this is Bay State versus UCF. I believe something that we saw yesterday on day 1 of the tournament, but instead we're going to have that run back here. I think they're fighting for a spot in Grand Finals. Anarchy, one of the best Greninja players in the United States, currently struggling against a Terry. Terry notorious for that DLC privilege, being a very strong character with some very strong abilities. Greninja, not so much, considered one of the weaker characters in the game. A Falco player, one of the best in the United States, and he just got spiked by a Terry. Same Terry that took out Anarchy literally minutes ago. UCF still up by 2 stocks. This guy is looking to rip this team apart single-handedly. That is, nuts, to say the very least. Absolutely absurd. That was a disgusting spike. I cannot believe that happened. Will you hold the microphone so I can sign this? Sorry. For context, he's got a fan. He's actually signing something. He's so excited. What was it like to not hear my voice for 2 minutes? For 30 seconds, maybe. What was it like? Probably bliss. I was signing a mouse pad, which is really cool. I've never done that before. Nobody's ever asked me for a signature, so I'm going to start blushing, but I'm really excited about that. And then he wants a picture. Can you take a picture of us? I said, is it bad? She went, no. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a yes. Turns out I can't tie a tie sitting down. What do you think is the appropriate face-to-screen ratio for a Valorant player?
Face to screen, like how close I sit?
Yeah, like how close should a player sit?
Personally, I play really, really close. I think it depends on your eyesight, but for me, I like playing close because it helps me focus on my crosshair.
Is the value of sitting close, the crosshair being the only thing in your line of sight?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main benefit of it.
It's so funny how close some of these guys sit. Oh my goodness. What do you think is the healthy face-to-screen distance for a Valorant player?
I think it's all kind of personal preference. I guess I would consider myself like pretty close when I play because I like to zone in on my crosshair.
It is the second person to say that. It's all about the crosshair. And then what's up with the horizontal keyboard?
I don't know, like it just kind of fits like the form when I'm close to monitor. Like I don't know, it might sound cringy, but I like to like be one with my gun, you know?
No, bro, I feel it absolutely. What is going on, everybody? I am here with some UCF fans. How are we feeling about UCF? Let's go! Let's go! We've got a bunch of UCF fans in the crowd right now. UCF, they're up by a single game. They're looking to find their third and possibly final, secure a spot moving forward. Things looking great for them against Northwood here today. This guy's playing Minecraft right now. He keeps double building instead of placing the dirt. Pressure's on, man. Everybody's watching. Just kidding. Just me. Cameraman's not over here. Just kidding. He's behind you. There's actually always cameras on you if I'm around. Do you double build all of those? No excuses, bro. Your college esports Minecraft team absolutely rolled. L after L here. Let's hope UCF has a little better luck on stage, huh? What is going on, everybody? I am Septilence. I have the honor of welcoming you to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, that was good. That was good. Good content. Good content.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year's, everyone, and welcome back to the ECAC Esports channel. As always, my name is Kyler Tando, and I once again have the privilege of introducing you all to some of the best collegiate esports plays. Now, I know when we left off last year, I teased a little bit about some big news on the horizon, but that news is finally ready to break. Now, this year, in partnership with CSMG and their newly launched Esports U network, we will now be able to bring you guys double the amount of ECAC matches. So, with double the matches comes double the highlights. And with that said, I mean, obviously, right, do the math here. It means that we get to take this series of videos to a weekly top 8 instead of just the top 4 like we did in the past. But anyways, that's enough out of me.
Welcome back, everybody, inside of the booth here. Clutchkey alongside Dividing with you. And joining us in from the booth, from the winning team of the Ball State Cardinals, Team Red, is Manway joining us. And Manway, for your team, got to feel pretty good that you guys have just booked your spot into this weekend's semifinals. How are you guys feeling after that win?
Feeling pretty good. Feel like did really well. We didn't have to go too far off our track, so we were okay. Did very well.
Yeah, you guys did extremely well, and part of the big reason for that is because you guys really took advantage of the new Season 2 Doomfist that came into the game yesterday. I was very curious because if we would be seeing it in a playoffs game, considering the patch came in just yesterday, what was the thought process of your team when deciding whether or not to commit to the Doomfist or not?
We had one scrim yesterday on Season 2 patch, and we didn't play Ramantra, we only played Doomfist. So that was like our whole game plan. We were just going to all play Doomfist for the entirety of the match.
Well, it worked out fantastically well for you guys, and I want to zoom out for a second outside of this game. You guys, as a team, are pretty new this semester. Ball State kind of completely restructured their Overwatch team, and you guys have had a lot of success already. What has it been like for you as a new team? How has Ball State been treating you guys, and how far do you think you guys can go?
We've been pretty good so far. We had like synergy problems at the start. Didn't really know how to do well with each other, but then we realized just how to manage everything, how to manage stress, and how to manage in game, and we just kind of started to get better. And then we also have been getting better in school and like learning how to do college since like half of us are freshmen. So
there is a bit of a learning curve there.
Yeah.
Well, and a good job to you guys thus far. Again, Manway joining us from the winning team of the Ball State Cardinals, who won 3-0 over Paceview Setters. So now you guys move on to this weekend's semifinals. And actually going on right now, we're trying to see who your opponent is going to be, either number 3 Mount St. Mary's or number 11 Ohio Northern playing right now. Again, Mount St. Mary's up in their game 2-0. So it could potentially be a number 2 versus number 3 setup for you guys in the semifinals. So how confident are you guys in that semifinal matchup coming this weekend, and potentially moving on to Wednesday's championship series?
We haven't dropped a map, so I'm feeling pretty confident. We haven't lost a single map to anyone yet, so I think even if it's number 3 seed, I think we'll still 3-0.
And I love the confidence coming from you guys, from you and the rest of your team as well. Manway joining us. Thank you very much, and good luck in the semifinals and making your way to the championship game.
You too.
All right, that was Manway from the Ball State Cardinals team playing tank, and also played a DPS towards the end there as well. So, for Ball State. So, I mean, either way, looks pretty good for the Ball State Cardinals, number 2 seed going in to the entire bracket, and for them, looking very good, especially right after the season 2 start. You heard them; they only had one scrim to figure this all out yesterday, but today pays off dividends.
Works out incredibly well for them. This was my first time watching and casting this Ball State team, and they've been getting a lot of positive reception from the community of analysts out there, saying that this is a team to watch moving forward in the spring semester. And after having an opportunity to see them myself, I have to agree. This is a very talented team, and I think they have only started to scratch the surface of what they can do.
Let's see if they can scratch their way into the championship series after this weekend's semifinals. Again, they will either play number 3 Mountain St. Mary's Mountaineers or the number 11 Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Again, playing right now. Mountain St. Mary's up 2-0. Could be potentially last map right now on Circuit Royale. Want to thank everybody on the back end. Rhino Vaught for their good work on observing. Colton on the production side. You, my friend, as always, one of the biggest brains, as always, to work with. Always fun when we do these casts together. So thank you very much to you as well for watching. And coming up tomorrow right here on Esports U, as well as Esports U2, mind you, the East Coast Conference Valorant semifinals. So ECC semifinals going down. You do not want to miss that coming up tomorrow. So until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves and have a good rest of your night.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big...
I really think that there's been a sorely missed opportunity for developers to take a step back from competition and take a step forward with community. And if they do that, I think we all win, because community, I would argue, is the one thing that no one's trying to solve. We're trying to solve recruitment. We're trying to solve competition. Tell me, where's community? Honestly, any one of you, go ahead. Shout out what's the national community for Scholastic right now. Any title, tell me.
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I meet and hang out?
Of the storm, community 0.
There's nothing. It doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist statewide. It doesn't exist school-wide. It doesn't exist region-wide. It doesn't exist nationally. It doesn't exist digitally on Twitch. It doesn't exist digitally on Discord. It doesn't exist through any form of skill-based development. It doesn't exist on any form of, skill-based learning or just pure socialization and fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Huge missed opportunity. You want to take their time and make it more efficient, in my opinion. Tell Riot Scholastic politely to stop what they're doing with competitive, and their integration with LCS should be, Twitch, symposiums and summits and conversations and learning and all sorts of wonderful things, and promoting camps and educational learning activities and RSSA sponsored curriculum. That will move the needle. I don't see any of that.
So Chris, that was pretty much the last topic. You kind of wrapped it in a nice package called community. And I was kind of thinking more from an organizer and a broadcaster point of view around growing fandom. And how do we get fandom around collegiate esports to look more like traditional sports across the board? And that helps us go out and sell sponsorships in the place, of which trickles down to all our member schools that we represent. But when we go to brands and we can't check that box of, 1 billion impressions and 1 million views, we still are challenged with selling those sponsorships. So my last and final is, do we have any secrets around how to grow fandom or grow community let's just start with on campus.
I got the big one real quick.
Okay.
Best way to grow community: food nights. Has nothing to do with playing the game. I'll give you a real life example. We used to do dollar burger night at the University of Cincinnati. We'd just go out to Bar Louie. We used to have dollar burgers every Wednesday. We'd post in at this time those Facebook groups, tell people where to show up. 6 people, 12 people showed up the first week. By the 3rd month, we had 40 plus people coming. And it was the biggest revenue night of the week for Bar Louie every week, purely because of us. But we had friendships, we had relationships, we had roommates, we had all sorts of great, wonderful things come from that. And that translated to our LANs, our club meetings, and everything from that.
Mm-hmm.